Are you wondering what are the best damage dealers in Dragonheir Silent Gods? That's exactly what we are going to discuss in today's video. Top 15 best legendary damage dealers in Dragonheir. This video is brought to you by Dragonheir Silent Gods, so I just want to say a big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. And if you guys are new around here, new on the channel, and you haven't tried Dragonheir Silent Gods just yet, you can download the game by using my link in the description down below, or in the pinned comment, or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. But without further ado, guys, let's jump straight into today's main topic. We have a lot of awesome legendaries in the game, and I kind of want to pinpoint the top 15 best damage dealers. And I'm talking about across all of the seasons, across most of the content. Keep in mind, as a disclaimer, each one of these characters will need a right setup in order to really shine and bring its potential to maximum. It doesn't matter if we're talking about Rook, it doesn't matter if we're talking about Skratch, etc. You guys know how it works. And while I do think that there are a lot of amazing legendaries, some of them, they're very conditional. Some of them only really work on a small handful of content throughout the entire 3 seasons. So I won't put them on the list, but I will mention them at the end, guys. And let me just start with one of the most badass looking characters in Dragonheir Silent Gods, and that is Perun, guys. He looks so freaking amazing. I really love the design on this character. Now, he needs a lot of overwhelm stacks in order to really do a lot of damage, guys. And honestly, it is a bit harder to enable him to do damage. But once you are enabling him, he's definitely destroying anything when we are talking about AoE damage. In Season 2, I used him quite a bit, actually. He was amazing versus the Mecha Torque. In Season 3, for example, I'm not using him versus the endgame boss. I feel like it's pretty hard to make him work in there. Single target DPS, they do tend to work much better. But leaving all that on the side, if you plan to use him in arena, if you plan to use him in dungeons or different areas like this, he is absolutely going to destroy that. I don't personally have the exclusive artifact for him, which will make him even crazier. But as he is right now, I've got a lot of damage out of this champion, and I know a lot of people really criticize the whole Thunderbolt school of damage in Season 2. But in the end, it turned out to be really powerful versus the Chief Challengers, versus the Mecha Torque, which was amazing. And I mentioned dungeons and the rest of the things is actually super solid. Of course, Goblin as well. You can actually just rack everything with him. He does have an attack aura for arena, and in there he's very powerful. Now, this season is a bit harder to kind of pair the right support for Lightning to really maximize their potential, but he's definitely a pretty solid one. So he is an exclusive, guys, which means that he has his own exclusive artifact. Definitely worth scrolling if you have him and worth using. You do need to have a couple of activators for him. I find that the best activator is Shy for him. Yes, Nissa can activate him too. I do tend to use 2 activators in order to really get a lot of damage out of Perun, and that will allow me to reach 20-30 stacks without a problem before he's using an ultimate. And that really brings a lot of damage. The next one that we have on the list, guys, is going to be Vitar. She's an exclusive as well from the Frost, the Ice element. Very strong for PvP, very strong for the Goblin. She was very strong versus the Mecha Torque as well last season, and she's just a force to reckon with, if you're planning to use her in the Feymander, in the Pillar of Trials, all of these areas, she's actually going to be super powerful. She was actually super busted in Season 2 versus the Fire boss, if I'm not mistaken, even though was the wrong element. So basically, she changes the weather to Ice Wind for 15 seconds as the battle starts. While Ice Wind is in effect, and when enemies are inflicted with Frost, deals additional derivative cold damage over time to them. Enemies with HP below 15% will be executed. Boss units are immune to execution. So what's super awesome about her, she has this execution when they are low on HP. So as long as you have the weather activated, she's going to absolutely smash and execute the opponents when their HP drops at a specific point, So very strong. The ultimate covers the entire area. Each enemy under Frost in the battlefield increases the damage by 15%. So in Arena, if you have Frost on all 5 enemies, you're gonna get a lot of damage from this champion. Again, I don't have the exclusive for her. Hopefully something that I will get in the future, but she's extremely, extremely, extremely powerful. Then I do have another one from the Ice Frost, Austar. Austar, he's just such a beast as well, man. Regardless if we're talking about dungeons, arena. Now, Frost is not great against the Temporal Vortex guys, which is kind of like putting them at a bit of a disadvantage. But other than that, they are just so freaking powerful. You're getting a defense aura for Series of Trials, which is a bit odd from an attack-based champion. The passive, basically, he shoots arrows. He has a chance to inflict frost, and he's gaining ultimate energy. With the battle skill, he has a chance to ignore the defense, and with the ultimate, he has a strong AoE that really deals a lot of damage. You know, so regardless whether you're planning to use this character as well, you're really gonna get a lot of value from him. So all of these characters that I will mention today, guys, I kid you not, but every single one of them is definitely worth scrolling. You'll have no regrets whatsoever. Now, some of them are range, which it really makes a difference versus the melee characters, you know, because they are more effective against a lot of content. So he is definitely part of it together with Vitar, you know. The next one that we have on the list, unfortunately, I don't have this bad boy, but he is an absolute beast as well. We have Teral right here, a dauntless character. He can deal so much damage. He can shoot his freaking arrows so fast. So with the passive, dealing direct damage to the same enemy grants the hero 1 stack of attack speed for 5 seconds. When you switch targets, he's gonna lose that. With the battle skill, shoots a powerful arrow at an enemy dealing damage, and this ignores immortality. So he's a good counter versus Ogok, for example, and his buff. And the ultimate switches to a different shooting stance. The hero's attack increases by 15 for the next 12 seconds, and each basic attack has a chance of triggering multi-shot, firing 3 arrows that deal lightning damage each. This chance is boosted at a rate equal to 30% of the hero's crit rate. If the multi-shot fails to trigger, the arrow's fire will deal lightning damage instead. So when he's going into this mode, guys, he's just like the freaking Robin Hood of a Dragonheir Silent Gods. He's shooting arrows like crazy, and he deals a lot of damage, like so much damage. He's definitely on my most wanted list, together with the next character that I have right here, and that is Evelios. One of the best Dauntless characters in the entire game, and it all has to do with the passive, guys. So the more Dauntless you bring into the team with him, the more damage he's going to get. He deals derivative damage, so every time an ally launches a basic attack, the hero has a 10% chance of launching a following attack dealing derivative damage. Dauntless hero have double the chance to do this. So build him with a lot of enlightenment, a lot of attack, and he's definitely going to bring you a lot of damage, you know. The battle skill grants attack speed up to all Dauntless, which is very important, you know, plus is the bigger version. And the ultimate fires a mighty arrow, dealing lightning damage to the enemy, and ignores 100% of the target's defense. Now, if you build him with no crit rate and stuff, this is not going to be the most impactful thing on his kit. But it really feels like every other Dauntless character in the game was designed around this champion's kit, because he's just so freaking strong. Moving over to the next one. This one was added actually in Season 3, and I'm talking about Austar, guys. You don't necessarily need to have a lot of Shadow Heroes to really get value out of him. The Shadow Heroes work a bit differently with their ultimate energy. The enemy cannot control the ultimate energy on them, and they can charge it much faster. So basically, he has an attack aura for arena. The passive dealing damage grants Shadow Energy, so basically that's how all of the Shadow Energy characters work. The hero permanently gains 1 stack of Undispellable Host Imprint for every 50 Shadow Energy obtained. The battle skill will just fire an orb at the target, dealing AoE damage, gains again Shadow Energy, but the ultimate is what makes him so freaking nasty. So he is a range unit, okay? And he will transform into a demon that will become a melee unit. While in the demon form, the hero gains attack speed up and damage reduction, with their basic attacks splashing on enemies around the target. Basic attacks increase to necrotic damage, then deals necrotic damage to enemies within range, and he consumes 10 Shadow Energy every 1 second. Now you can constantly keep him into this demon form if you have enough Shadow Heroes in the team, and he brings a lot of damage. Again, Shadow Heroes are not the best for the Temporal Vortex, but they can still perform fairly decent in there. I got close to 100 million this season, if I'm not mistaken, with them, or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong and I haven't got that much. But either way, I used them at some point and they performed fairly decent when we had a buff for the necrosis, you know. And other than that, yeah, super strong in all of the other areas. You know, having the AoE attacks is very, very helpful as usual. And being able to really drop in a lot of damage and have the damage reduction on the other form is actually really, really nice. Then I want to talk about one of my most favorite damage dealers in the game. He was my second legendary that I summoned in Dragonheir Silent Gods in the beta, and that is Huberg. My god, when Huberg starts going on with his ultimate skill, he is dealing so much damage, guys, especially AoE damage. Now, he might look like he's not that powerful, but trust me when I'm telling you, he's one of the best rally characters in the entire game. So you have Attack Aura for Series of Trials, the passive. When other ally casts a spell that consumes Rally, he gains Rally. With a battle skill, deals AoE damage with a chance to gain Rally. And the ultimate summons 3 arcane energy orbs to deal damage. When this spell is cast again, summons an additional 1 energy orb, up to 7 orbs in total. So the more you're using the ultimate, the more orbs you're going to basically summon and deal a lot of damage. But in order to really do a lot of damage, you do need to have Rally, and that does make a massive difference. He can just one-shot waves, deal so much damage on the bosses, especially once he starts popping off his ultimate at full potential, you know. Then we have an exclusive from the Poison Element. I don't have this character, but he is so damn powerful against some content. Not against everything, but he's very, very strong. So the Poisoners are much harder to build in general, guys, and they do require a lot of setup with other characters. The main thing with them is you do need a lot of enlightenment, attack, you need accuracy, sometimes crit rate, crit damage, in order to get the most out of them, to get them to pop off, you know. But he's very, very strong. So with a passive, when the hero skill deals damage to a target under poison, deals additional derivative damage, which is very nice. The whole thing is about the derivative damage on his skill. Rushes towards an enemy with the lowest current HP, dealing poison damage with a chance of inflicting poisons. And with the ultimate, it jumps and strikes the designated area, dealing poison damage. And follows up with 2 tornadoes. It deals good damage. The main thing is really from the passive, the derivative damage. He brings a lot of damage to a lot of different teams. The next one is an exclusive from the rally. I don't personally have this character, but it's definitely on my most wanted list. He's very, very strong. The problem is melee hero. So for the majority of the content, it's going to be a bit harder to use him over Huberg or over Filto. That's why Filto is ranked higher in my opinion. I do think that overall he's much, much better, especially that he allows you to one-shot a lot of waves and just make boom, you know. It's just crazy what a Filto can do. But Tendor, he's very, very strong. Now, honestly, I'm not even sure if I would rank him over Huberg. I probably would still use Huberg over him in most cases, but he can deal a lot of damage too. So attack aura for dungeon battles, the passive. When he ignores rally, he will ignore 20% of the target's defense. With the battle skill, is this diamond shape that is pretty hard to get full value out of it, just because of how all of the characters are usually positioned, you know. And the ultimate basically covers the entire area, unleashes a moonlight rain for 6 seconds, during which a beam of moonlight is summoned every 0.3 seconds to strike a random enemy on the battlefield. If you have rally, you're basically gonna shorten the interval for the beam strikes, you know, and you can have 9 of them channeled at a single target. So definitely very, very solid character as well, you know. Hopefully I'm gonna get him at some point. The next one is going to be Filto, which makes boom, boom, boom. One-shot every single Feymander wave. One-shot every single Pillar of Trials wave. Not one-shot bosses, but he's very freaking close with 2 ultimates to take them down. Super strong character, man. And even for PvP, he's so strong, but not in defense. In defense, it's super easy to counter this character because his ultimate goes on a straight line, you know, and you can position your characters on the side. And basically, he's never going to use the ultimate, which is a weird thing. Now, he does have a pretty nice passive where The basic attacks will cause an arcane explosion upon hitting an enemy, dealing derivative lightning damage. I would strongly not suggest you to build him for derivative damage because of the passive, because this is definitely not his main thing. The main thing is the ultimate, and when you have rally, he's basically going to repeat the attack, casting the skill another time and deal damage and gain 20% ultimate energy. Of course, the best activators for rally guys is Lorantil and very, very strong paired together. That's how I'm beating the Feymander pretty much every single time, Then, moving over to the last 5 damage dealers that we have right here, guys. I do want to kind of like bring in the big guns and Scatius. Scatius is so freaking strong. Very similar with what Filto does, but with burn over rally. One-shot waves in any of these content, Pillar of Trials, Feymander, etc. Super strong for arena. He is a melee character. What I do like about him is that he covers the entire area when he's using the ultimate. And my god, if you have burn on your team and he's going against you, he's absolutely going to demolish your team without a problem. Dispels all enemies' burn and deals fire damage to them. The more stacks of burn dispelled, the more damage basically. The battle skill again is AoE, but it's this weird diamond shape. And the passive, basic attacks deal additional fire damage to enemies in 3 tiles in front of him basically, or close to him before the hero. When a basic attack deals damage to an enemy, under burn recharges ultimate energy by 5%. If you have a Carf together with him, you are unstoppable. He was so strong versus the Mecha Torque in Season 2, guys. My god. Now, he was added in Season 2, right? So if you get him, definitely use him. It doesn't even matter if you don't have Carf. Just use a different burn enabler, an epic or rare. And my god, he's absolutely going to demolish those targets. Then, moving over to the next one. She is so freaking nasty. Nashchenka. I think I'm pronouncing that name good. If no, I'm butchering it. She is an exclusive as well, similar with the Scatius. Basically, she can deal disgusting damage in the Vortex together with Evelios. In the right setup, she's going to bring in a lot of damage. Very strong for PvP. Strong for PvE as well, where you need to quickly take enemies down. She flashes to the enemy with the lowest current HP and deals lightning damage 3 times. The skill is counted as a basic attack and is guaranteed to be cast at the battle as the battle starts. Now, together with Evelios, whenever she's using this, Evelios' passive just procs. It almost feels like it's a 100% chance to proc and instantly just kill the target that she's going on, Very strong. And you have AoE right here. Now, the problem with her as well is that she is a melee character, and I do think that she brings in a lot of damage, though. If you have her in the right team, she's definitely going to surprise your expectations, PvP and PvE. The next one, I'm a massive fan. Unfortunately, I did not manage to summon her in Season 2 or in Season 3 for what matters. But Belel, guys, she is just such a beast. She was so strong in Season 2 for the Temporal Vortex. She was the meta, actually. And any other boss, it doesn't matter what boss it is, she is melting bosses. So the Ice Blast characters, they deal so much damage with the battle skills. They just gain stacks of Ice Blast, and every time they consume one, they basically deal damage with the battle skill, which is so freaking strong. The ultimate is not even as important. It's good to have it, but it's not what's going to bring the most damage on her. It's all about the battle skill. And if you have a couple of good enablers for her, she's going to really surprise your expectations. If you're talking about an artifact, you don't want to use artifacts that increase the damage that her ultimate skill does. You want the Manticore, for example, if you have an epic artifact and no legendaries for her. The Statue of Manticore is what you want to get on her to really get a lot of damage. Talking about another awesome legendary that Skratch doesn't have, Flora, another exclusive, so damn strong. My god, in Season 1 she was the meta. In Season 3 she's not the meta, but she is the second best option in general for the majority of the content, and she has to she's doing basically derivative damage. So she has an attack aura for all battles, which is very helpful to have it for all battles. The passive, every time an ally launches a successful wild, the familiar will unleash a fireball at the ally's current target, dealing fire damage. You have the battle skill, the familiar unleashes 2 fireballs at the enemy, which the familiar being the small dragon, by the way. And the ultimate deals fire damage to the enemy, creating a fire vortex around the target for 10 seconds. As the vortex lasts, the target deals additional derivative damage from wild. So when you have wild characters with multi-hits, she's going to pop off. That's why the best setup for her is with Tunnel Nun and Erich, guys. The more hits going in, the more damage she's going to do. Again, she's definitely on my most wanted legendaries in the game, on my list. If I would kind of like need to pick, probably she would be the one that is my most wanted legendary right now. I feel like she's definitely at that spot, you know. And we have the final one. Yes, you guessed it right. He's definitely, without any questions whatsoever, the most powerful damage dealer in the entire game. And I am talking about Rook. Thankfully, for once, I've got this champion, right? This hero, so I can actually walk you through everything with a bit of pride, you know, because I actually have him. So very strong, guys. Like, Mera for the Vortex deals more damage than anyone else. The endgame boss, more damage than anyone else. Chief challenges, Chaos Shadow, Dungeons, Arena, Goblin, Feymender, Pillar of Trials, everywhere. Probably he's one of those unique champions that works well in every little bit of content in Dragonheir Silent Gods. And there are many amazing characters, but each one of them tends to have kind of like strengths and weaknesses in some of the content. I feel like Rook is just such a universal character that he works well in every little bit of content in the game, guys. And it all has to do, of course, with the battle skill, with the ultimate skill being the main thing. AoE damage, cast the spell 3 times, deals more damage, the more corrosion onto the target, you know. And he can just absolutely demolish any boss or anything in the game, guys. That was all for the top 15 best damage dealers in Dragonheir Silent Gods. Now, how I mentioned, there are quite a few other ones that did not make the top 15 because they're way too conditional. They tend to work only on a few specific special occasions. Vikana was great versus the Mechatork, but other than that, you might get some utility out of her in the Vortex with a very crazy team, but you're not really gonna get much else out of her. She can work very well in some cases, like amazing damage, insane damage actually, but not just in general. And I feel like it's definitely more important to kind of like have characters that will work in Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Season 5, etc. rather than have one character that works once per season, and some seasons they don't work at all, you know, to really bring you a lot of utility. Jatalia, again, another case like Vikana, I would say, you know, like she can explode the poisons if you can stack a lot of them. This time around in Season 3, for example, versus the Chief Challenge, poisons sucked. They were not good at all, you know. Versus the endgame boss as well, they don't really work that well either, you know. They're not as strong as people might like them to be. Talking about some Necros as well. While I do think that they are some of the weakest damage dealers in general, like Havle1 is right here, which, yeah, she can deal a lot of damage. The problem is she needs a lot of summoned units to deal a lot of damage, to sacrifice them all, you know. And the problem is most of the bosses will kill those summons before she gets to use the ultimate, and it's a bit of a bummer, you know, because you don't really get to take advantage of this badass looking character as well, you know. She's awesome. Probably she would deserve a spot in the top 15, but I'll be honest, just because everything's so freaking conditional and so hard to really get a lot of utility out of them and make them compete with the other damage dealers that I've just named before, because that's the whole idea. If you have those ones, why would you bother with these ones? You know what I mean? That it's just so much harder to really squeeze the damage. Same with Premtsa, you know, she's awesome. She can deal crazy things in PvP, in PvE as well. But overall, I feel like it's just not as impactful as any of the other characters that we had in top 15. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. I'm sure some people will disagree with this. Some people might agree. But that's kind of like my take on the top 15 best damage dealers in Dragonheir Silent Gods. Thank you again to Dragonheir for sponsoring today's video. And if you guys want to get involved, head over to the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment, or scan the QR code you see on the screen. Much love, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.